Eren Yeager is one of the most polarizing characters in anime history. Some call him a hero, some call him a villain. Some say he's an anti-hero trapped by fate. But here's the truth nobody wants to say out loud. Eren is a selfish bastard. This isn't about sides. This isn't about who's right or wrong. This is about a boy who grew up in pain and decided the whole world should bleed for it. Let's break down why Eren Yeager isn't a savior. He's not a symbol of freedom. He's just a self-centered brat who hid behind justice to justify a global massacre. Let's start at the beginning. Eren's life was undeniably tragic. He was born inside the walls, raised under oppression, and had no clue that the world outside saw him as a monster. But Eren's fatal flaw wasn't ignorance, it was entitlement. From the very first episode, Eren isn't fighting for freedom. He's fighting because he hates losing. When his mother is eaten in front of him, what does he say? "I'll kill them all, every last one of them." There's no space for grief, no mourning, just rage and revenge. He doesn't ask why Titans exist. He doesn't ask how this happened. He just assumes the world owes him peace, and now it must pay.
パラディ島の人々が死滅することを望み、この島のみならず、すべてのユミルの民が殺され尽くすまで止まらないだろう。俺はその望みを拒む。壁の巨人は、この島の外にあるすべての地表を踏み鳴らす。そこにある命をこの世から駆逐するまで。
Psychologist Carl Jung once said, "People will do anything, no matter how absurd, to avoid facing their own soul." That's Eren in a sentence. Rather than confront his grief, his trauma, or even the truth about who he is, Eren chooses a fantasy where his pain makes him special, and everyone else is either a pawn or a problem.
もしくは家畜だ。そいつを見ただけでムカムカしてしょうがなかった。つまりは奴隷だ。やめろ、エレン！俺はガキの頃からずっとミカサ、お前が大嫌いだった。エレン！よくもミカサ！
Fast forward to season 4, Eren now knows the truth. He knows that Marley created the Titans. He knows the people inside the walls aren't demons. They're just tools in someone else's war. And what does he do with that knowledge? He becomes the very monster he claims to hate. He crosses the ocean, slaughters civilians, manipulates his friends, and plans genocide, not as a last resort, but because he thinks it's the only answer. Eren doesn't ask the world to understand him. He demands it. And when it doesn't, he says this: if someone else had gotten the founding Titans' power, they would have done the same thing. That's not logic. That's deflection. That's what you say when you want to believe you had no choice, even though you made the choice long ago. Jean-Paul Sartre, the French existentialist, believed that freedom is defined by our actions. We are our choices, he wrote, and in choosing for ourselves, we choose for all mankind. Eren's version of freedom was genocide.
You are free to oppose me and defend the world's freedom, just as I am free to move forward. Our convictions can never be reconciled, and our wills will not bend. And there is only one way for this to be resolved. Fight.
That's not freedom. That's delusion dipped in blood. Let's zoom out. What Eren does, mass murder, betrayal, manipulation, is horrifying. But what's worse is the why. Eren claims it's for his friends. He says he's doing this so they can live long, happy lives. But look closer. He never asks them what they want. He decides for them. He controls Historia's life. He forces Mikasa and Armin into impossible situations. He uses the Attack Titan's time-warping memory powers not to find a better future, but to lock in the worst one. Immanuel Kant, a German philosopher, wrote, "Act in such a way that you treat humanity always at the same time as an end, never merely as a means." Eren treats everyone as a means to a future he chose, a pain he wants to justify, a version of himself he can live with. Even when he breaks down crying in front of Armin, even when he admits that he didn't want any of this, it's not guilt, it's ego. He's sad, not because he hurt people. He's sad because he has to be seen as the one who did it all alone. Let's be honest, a lot of people love Eren because he took control. He wasn't a pawn, he broke the cycle. He made the world feel his pain. But that's not strength, that's narcissism. Friedrich Nietzsche warned us about this when he said, "Beware that when fighting monsters, you yourself do not become a monster, for when you gaze long into the abyss gazes also into you." Eren stared into that abyss and then he jumped. He didn't blink. He embraced it and became something far worse than what he was fighting. People say he had no choice, but Armin found a choice. Mikasa made a choice. Even Reiner, broken as he was, still searched for redemption. Eren? He decided his pain was more important than anyone's peace, that his revenge deserved more weight than the lives of billions. He didn't end the cycle. He just made sure his name would be remembered as the one who kicked the wheel off the cliff. Let's talk about that final conversation with Armin. Eren admits everything. He admits he didn't know what he was doing. He admits he didn't want Mikasa to move on. Let me repeat that. Even at the end of the world with blood on his hands and time running out, Eren says, "I want her to be miserable without me." This is the man fans call a revolutionary. This is the freedom fighter people romanticize. He destroyed the world, then begged his friends to cry over his corpse. That's not tragic. That's pathetic. That's a man who wanted to be God, and then cried when the job was lonely. Here's the real heartbreak. Eren could have been different. He had people who loved him. He had chances to step back, to think, to reflect, to choose another path. But he didn't want a better world. He wanted a louder one. One where his voice, his rage, his suffering echoed louder than everyone else's. Even in death, Eren becomes a martyr for a cause that never existed. Because the truth is, there was no cause. Only a boy who thought he mattered more than everyone else. So don't tell me Eren was a hero. Don't tell me he was a villain. He was something far more dangerous. A selfish bastard who thought the world owed him salvation. And in trying to make himself free, he made sure no one else ever could be.
とは昔から喧嘩したことなかったよな。なんでかわかるか。お前と俺じゃ喧嘩になんねえからだよ。